What is good, YouTube? This your boy Aaron,
It's Brian.
and this is the Courtside View Podcast, and we are back today, and we are talking about the NFC East. We are giving our predictions for the NFC East. We do this every year, around this time, around training camp time, when the NFL is starting to get back in form. We give our predictions for each division, and we're starting off with the NFC East, and then we're going to work our way to the rest of the NFC, and then we're going to get to the AFC eventually. So, without further ado, here we go. Let's start with the Commanders. Um, they've made a lot of moves, as we already know. We talked about it months ago with the coaching staff, with the free agency. Just to remind you all, the free agents, some of the notable free agents that they acquired was Austin Eckler, former running back of the Los Angeles Chargers, Bobby Wagner, former linebacker, future Hall of Famer for the Seattle Seahawks, um, Marcus Mariota, quarterback. You have Zach Ertz, Dante Fowler Jr. You also have Tyler Biadasz,
Yep.
Jeremy Chin. So those are some Clean Farrell. Those are some notable names. Jeremy Reeves, they re-signed him. So those are some notable names that they also Jameson Crowder, they brought him back. So yeah, those are some notable names that they brought in. They obviously they signed some other players, but not many people probably know who they are, so I'm not really gonna name a lot of them. But yeah, just going down the list. Draft picks, we already know Jaden Daniels, the quarterback. They drafted that D tackle from Illinois, Jerzon
Newton.
Newton. He's supposed to be really good. He's still coming back from injury, but I heard he's starting to ramp up everything, and he may he may come back during the season. So that DB from Michigan, um, Ben Sinnott from Kansas State, and yeah, Luke McCaffrey, wide receiver. They drafted a guard in the third round, and yeah, we don't really have to look at all the other picks, but the coaching staff got a reminder. Cliff Kingsbury, he's the offensive coordinator. Um, One thing about Cliff Kingsbury, I don't know if they're going to run an air raid because just reading the Washington Post article, it says that it's not going to be an air raid offense. I don't really know what the offense is going to be. I highly doubt that it's not going to be an air raid. Joe Witt Jr. is the defensive coordinator. As Brian already knows, he came from the Dallas Cowboys. Dan Quinn is the head coach. Yada, yada, yada. All right. So when we look at the depth chart, Jaden Daniels, according to ESPN, Jaden Daniels is the projected starter, as he should be. I mean,
I'd
Marcus
hope
Mariota is
so.
not good. Austin Eckler is the starter for the running back over Brian Robinson Jr.
What?
Yeah, that's the projected. I don't know if this is updated or not, but
Oh,
that's what they project it's going to be. Terry McLaurin, Jahan Dotson, obviously. They think Luke McCaffrey is going to be wide receiver 3 in the slot. Zach Ertz, Brandon Coleman, who they drafted, I believe, in the third round. Uh, that's not good. Um, and then you have some other offensive linemen. Tyler Biadasz obviously going to start at center. Um, and yeah, you I don't really need to read the rest. It's not that good. They say Dante Fowler Jr. is going to start
oof.
um, left defensive end. You also have Deron Payne, you have Jonathan Allen, Dorrance Armstrong at the right side of the defensive end. Frankie Louvu, linebacker. Bobby Wagner, he's going to start in the middle, as we all know. Jamin Davis, they expect him to start. I also heard some things about Emmanuel Forbes. They say he bulked up. He gained
Hmm.
8 pounds.
I thought they said
Um,
15.
oh, 15 pounds, even better.
He
Not
look
not
he looks bigger in that picture I saw of him. I said, okay, he doesn't look like an absolute twig anymore.
right. Jeremy Chin, they have him starting at strong safety. Uh, Derek Forrest at free safety. Don't know who that is. Benjamin St. Justy, cornerback, and Quinn Martin. Don't even know what it is. So that's the projected starting lineup for the defense and the offense. They have them at a base 4-3 defense. And yeah, what what is your reaction to just everything involving the Commanders and just how do you see them playing out this coming season?
Um, I don't expect them to be any world beaters or anything. I expect them to get around like possibly 8, maybe 9 wins. It really depends on how good Jaden Daniels is out the gate and how the team meshes well throughout the year. Because it's the first year a lot of these dudes haven't played with each other on the same team before. Aside a few of the Cowboys players that follow Dan Quinn over, as well as Joe Witt as the defensive coordinator. But it's really depending on a few things. It's the how they plan to implement and use Jaden Daniels, what kind of offensive scheme they're running. Also, how because the Dan Quinn's people going to say, "Oh, Dan Quinn he's the head coach." It's Dan Quinn's defense. Okay, he bought Joe Witt from the Cowboys. It's going to be Dan Quinn's defense. It also depends how can these players perform and play the usual Dan Quinn style defense. Meaning, can they win their one-on-one matchups? Because he's not really going to scheme up sacks stuff. He'll do like he'll do like stunts and stuff like that. But his defense is very turnover dependent, and we just have the better dudes. That is how the Cowboys defense ran for the past 3-4 years, and I don't really see it changing much just because just because he coaches the Commanders now. It was like that in Atlanta too. The Atlanta defense was also, hey, we have the better dudes, come beat us, and it worked. But when you have equal talent, then you see how Dan Quinn's defense started to look a little suspect towards the later half of the year when you go against those better teams. And so that's my whole big thing with the Commanders. The ownership. I like that they actually went out and made moves. It may not be like earth shattering. Oh, we got a superstar player or also a Pro Bowl player, but stuff to build the roster up to help build those lay the foundation for the rebuild. So I
Mm,
expect them to probably get about I'd say 8 wins, which wouldn't be terrible for a year one type.
that might win a
Uh,
division.
I don't know about that. I don't know
That might
about
win
that.
a division. Hey, 8 or 9 wins, that might win a division. The way
I
the
don't
way
know
this
about that.
division
Not
is
not this ain't it ain't gonna be 2020 again unless some injuries happen.
the way this division is looking. Oh man. Um I agree with you. I think everything boils down to Jaden Daniels and the offense. I don't think the defense is going to be the key reason why they win games. I think this is a 2012 situation all over again. If you remember with RG3 in his first year, I think it's going to be something similar to that if they have any sort of success. They're going to have to figure out a way to get Jaden Daniels involved, make him play well, and get some juice on the outside with these receivers. Because let's be honest, these past few years when it comes to quarterbacks, it's just been awful. Taylor Heineke, Sam Howell, Marcus Mariota, Brian Fitzpatrick at one point, and well, I forgot the other QB that he was with Minnesota and then he came here. I forgot dude's name, Case Keenum. So
Mm,
it's been pretty awful these past 4 years, honestly, ever since Kirk Cousins left, really. So that's how I look at it. If the offense is not gelling, if the offense is not playing well, I see this team as a 4-win team.
mm,
If their offense is really really good and they're clicking on all cylinders, I think this team could win 9 games. I think this team it's all dependent on offense at the end of the day. I think this division can be had. I think this division is not that great. I look at the other teams in the division. I look at the Cowboys, they're imploding. I look at the Eagles, they're imploding. I look at the Giants. We already know what Hard Knocks, they're imploding. It's this division can be had. They're a new team. Not many people know what to expect. So you have the element of surprise at their, you know, you have the element of surprise. So that's always good. But it's hard to really it's I would love to pick them to win a division, but it's really hard. I'm hesitant because I don't know.
mm.
I don't know what to expect. The Commanders, this franchise, they've always just been a disappointment in recent years. So I really don't know what to expect. And Dan Quinn, can I really trust Dan Quinn? Has he learned his ways? It's hard to say. It's hard to say. So they have a lot of promise. I think. I think. I think they have, honestly, out of all the teams in the division, I think they have the highest ceiling. Out of all the teams in the
I don't think
division,
so.
you don't think you think so? You think
No.
the Eagles have a higher ceiling?
Yes.
Okay, maybe they don't have a higher ceiling. All right. Maybe they don't have a higher ceiling. All right. Um, I think their future. I like their future a lot.
Okay, that's fair.
As long as Jaden Daniels, he can get it together. I like their future a lot. I just think all the pieces fit. Jaden Daniels, this offense, it works. That's why when we brought up the point about Jaden Daniels versus Drake May, I always said it's all about fit at the end of the day. It's not about just who's more talented, uh, who's more skilled. It's about uh, does your talent, does your skill set fit with the system? And I think this is a perfect match. I think his mindset, I think his leadership all bodes well with what the Commanders are trying to do. And I expect the Commanders to have a solid season, whatever that is, 7, 8 wins. I feel like that's a win for them. So I think I think I think that's what we should be looking at from the Commanders this year.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, let's go. Let's go to the Giants.
Oh boy.
Yeah, uh, just getting everything. Giants depth chart. Okay. Giants coaching staff. Okay. All right. So the New York Giants. Giants
Hmm.
draft. I'm just making sure I got all the draft. I got all the information. All right. So as we all know, but let's get a reminder, just like with the Commanders, they acquired Brian Burns, really good pass rusher. He
Yep.
played for the Carolina Panthers. They really wanted him, and they were able to get him. But they had to let go of Xavier McKinney and Saquon Barkley. They're two blue chips. Those are two key losses for them. They acquired John Runyon Jr., former offensive lineman for the Packers. Jalen Mills, DB. He's
Okay.
mid. Yeah, he's mid.
Yeah.
And yeah, Devin Singletary, Drew Lock, Isaiah McKenzie. A bunch of small moves. I would say besides the Brian Burns and maybe John Runyon, that's everything else has been a lot of small moves. So that's pretty much the free agency. Looking at the depth chart, obviously they have Daniel Jones as their starter, Devil Singletary as the running back starter, Malik Neighbors, no question. I mean, when you draft him that high, he's definitely going to start. You have
Yeah.
Darius Slayton, you have Wandale Robinson, uh, Daniel Bellinger. He's their starting tight end. Never heard of the
Okay.
dude. Andrew Thomas, obviously Pro Bowl caliber left tackle. He's going to start.
Hmm.
Um, you have John Runyon. Oh yeah, what happened to where's Evan Neal? So he's hurt right now.
Oh,
He's on the second string. Is it because he's hurt? That's why they have him on the second string?
maybe.
Yeah, if
So
he
I can look
if
that up actually.
I hope that's the case because if he's on the second string not because of injury, that's a bad look. Um let's look at the defense. DJ Davidson, never heard of him. Dexter Lawrence, obviously. Raheem Nunes, never heard of him. Brian Burns, obviously. Yeah, it's trash. Deontay
Yeah,
Banks
Evan
starting
Neal
at
is hurt.
corner. Yeah, it's okay. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, their defense is trash. Kayvon Thibodeau, Brian Burns, Dexter
The D
Lawrence. Those,
line is good at least.
yeah, the D line is pretty solid. Deontay Banks, okay, he's okay. He had a solid rookie year, and yeah, that's the depth chart. Look at the coaching staff. You obviously have Brian Dable. Mike Kafka is the offensive coordinator. They remember what's his name left because
Wink.
him and Dayball, yeah, Wink Martindale, both of them were not getting along, so he bounced, and they brought in Shane Baldwin. I forget where Tennessee Titans, right, Tennessee Titans, and yeah, those are offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, and when we go to the draft, we got Malik Neighbors, stud at wide receiver. I've heard he's been fantastic in training camp. I've seen the videos. I've seen the clips of him cooking Deontay Banks.
Yep.
Tyler Nubin, Minnesota. How you feel about that pick? I don't know. I don't know about safeties.
What position he plays? Safety.
Safety,
Yeah, I
Minnesota.
don't know. I
Yeah, I don't
I
know.
don't look at safeties when it comes to draft unless they're like guaranteed top picks, like Kyle
Yeah.
Hamilton was.
Drew Phillips from Kentucky, cornerback. They drafted a tight end, Theo Johnson from Penn State, and a running back and linebacker. All right, so that's their draft class, and we don't really need to spend a whole lot on the Giants. I wanted to give them their respect, their just due. I didn't want to just say, it is what it is. I want to really break this down. How do you feel about the Giants? The Giants this coming season?
Um, if the Hard Knocks is any indicator of how this football season will go, it's probably not that good. Not that good. I'm gonna be
Mm,
honest with you. I'm looking at the roster. I'm not really seeing much, and the worst offense of them all, they have Daniel Jones at QB. We're seeing clips. I know it's training camp. You're supposed to get all the bad stuff out of training camp, but he airmailed a screen pass, a pass out the backfield. He airmailed it. There's been passes where he couldn't hit receivers in stride. He missed the target on Malik Neighbors. I think he missed the deep ball on Wandale Robinson.
mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I think when you got Daniel Jones, your ceiling should be you should temper your expectations of what you'll do as a football team in this league because the man he's not that good. He's just not good. And then like you said, the defense outside of the D line, it's kind of like
It's up in the
you
air.
don't you don't have Xavier McKinney anymore. Let him walk. Um, you know your D line is great. You got Dexter
Orange.
Kayvon, who's still young and developing. You got
Mm-hmm.
Brian Burns to add Brian Burns to the equation, and Deontay Banks. He's solid, but outside of them, I don't know if I can name a single linebacker on that roster. I'm not gonna lie. Um, and on the offensive end, you let Saquon walk. He was your best offensive weapon. You
Yep.
got Malik Neighbors, but you need somebody to get Malik Neighbors the ball. So
Mm-hmm.
that's why I'm like, well, so honestly, I don't. If I'd be shocked if this team gets more than 5 wins. I'm gonna be honest with you
Wow.
because
Wow.
I just don't see it. I feel like
Yeah.
this is I feel like this needs to be. As a Giants fan, you better hope you only win 5 games because you need Daniel Jones gone like yesterday. So if I was a Giants, I truthfully would not want this team to win more than 5 games because if you win more, if you win about 8 or so games, there's probable cause of keeping Daniel Jones on the roster. You don't want
Mm.
probable cause.
No, you don't. I
That's how
just,
you
I
end up in
just,
purgatory.
yeah. It's just the worst year to have a bad team because
Mm.
the QB class. I'm not going to say it's trash, but it's not the level that last year's class was. And Jackson Arnold, the Oklahoma QB, and then you have some other QBs that are going to come out the year afterwards. It's like damn, like this is the wrong year to be really sorry. So As a Giants fan, I'm very pessimistic. I know. You probably happy as hell. As a Giants fan, I'm pessimistic. This just seems like a lost season to me. I know with Brian Dable, he just doesn't seem confident in Daniel Jones. Like you watch the Hard Knocks, he seemed very hesitant. He doesn't seem very comfortable with Daniel Jones as the quarterback. Uh, they talked about Daniel Jones, and this is pretty much his prove it year, even though he's been in the league for 5 years. Prove it year, my ass. He's just not good. I don't know why they keep saying prove it year, like he's ever going to figure it out. But yeah, I just look at this Giants team. There's nothing to hang your hat on besides Malik Neighbors. I think he'll be fine. But this just reminds me of 10 years ago with another LSU receiver in Odell Beckham Jr. and how this team was in a similar situation where they were not good. They were in purgatory. There was nothing good. Eli, he was declining. Even though Eli was way better than Daniel Jones, the offensive line still stinks. The defense is up in the air. It's nothing has changed with the Giants, and I don't see anything better from last season. I don't see them getting any better than what they were from a year ago. So that's just really what it is, man. It's one of them. It's one of them years. It's one of them years where you just stay away from watching the Giants. I hope the guy they're not on Thanksgiving. They probably are on Thanksgiving. They probably playing y'all again because the NFL, they don't want you guys to get your ass whooped on
I think
Thanksgiving
they are
again.
playing us on Thanksgiving.
It's one of those things where the NFL they feel sorry for the Cowboys, so they want you guys to look good for once because the NFL is tired of seeing the Cowboys get their ass whooped all the time. So they just like, hey, we're just gonna give them the Giants. What a shame. What a shame. Let's go to the Cowboys next. Oh man. You can I'm gonna let you cook on this one because you're the Cowboys fan, so you can really just talk about all your stuff. But before that, I just want to make sure that we just remind people of the depth chart of just off season. Matter of fact, what off season? Y'all haven't done much of anything in the off season. So do I really need to talk about you guys' off season besides the fact that you haven't signed anybody and you haven't re-signed anybody? I mean, it's nothing really much to talk about. Cowboys.
Par for the course for the Dallas Cowboys. Doing nothing in the off season.
Yeah, so I mean, so we'll just skip the off season. We'll just skip the free agency because you didn't really make any moves. Let's see here. Okay, so when we look at it for the draft picks, we already know y'all drafted Tyler Guyton. You didn't want that. That's your guy, man. That's your guy, Tyler Guyton. They were projecting him to go to the Packers, but he went to the Cowboys instead. So that's your guy. And round 2, Marshawn Leland, DN from Western Michigan. Never heard of the dude before. How you feel? First of all, how you feel about these draft picks? I mean, Cooper B.
I wasn't too ecstatic about the first 2 picks, Guyton and Nealon, but
yeah,
I was very excited about Cooper Beebe because he can not only can he play left guard, he can also play center. And we got rid of Biotish, and we have our current center in training camp right now is Brock Hoffman, and he's not terrible, but I think Cooper Beebe would be better in the long term. So I was excited to hear about that. And I think after we drafted Cooper Beebe, we drafted. I don't know if we had two. Who's the next draft
it was
pick? Was it Luafau?
Yeah, Luafau from Notre Dame.
Yeah, I like Maris Luafau. Yeah, he's a very smart linebacker. They moved him all over the defense when he went to Notre Dame, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they moved him around all around the defense at Notre Dame, which probably wasn't really a good idea to do all that. So his
Mhm.
coverage grades are a little funky on PFF and all that stuff. That's because they had him playing like they put him like nickel. They'd have him at safety sometimes and linebacker and all that stuff. But from what all the coaches have been saying, they've been raving about Mike Zimmer. Have been raving about this guy. They say he's super smart. He understands. He knows what he's looking at, and he's been with the ones in training camp. So I'm expecting him to
Okay.
be. He's supposedly one of the starters. So I got high expectations for that guy. I think we drafted corner Kate. Is it Kason Wallace? No, it's
Kalen
Kalen
is
Carson.
Kalen
Kalen
Carson from
Carson.
Wake
Yeah,
Forest. Yeah.
yeah. He went to represent Waldorf, Maryland. Um,
Oh, okay.
yeah, he's been getting some run with the ones because Trey Diggs isn't fully healthy yet,
Healthy.
so he's still getting him
Mm,
ramping him up and stuff. Man, I'd
mm.
rather take it. I mean, it's Trayvon Diggs. He don't really need too much practice. He's the all pro corner for crying out loud. But so I mean, they said people on the team are saying he's going to be a good player in this league. My main concerns with the Cowboys is currently the offense because as it stands right now, Brandon Cooks is the
Mm.
number one receiver at training camp, and I wonder why. Was it this? I think I feel like someone's missing here. Like a guy that was like really good. Oh yeah, C.D. Lamb. He's nowhere to be found. And you know why he's nowhere to be found? Because Jerry and Stephen Jones are terrible at running the organization.
Mm.
It is absolutely disgusting. They don't want to pay these people. I don't understand. Like seriously, I'm gonna give you. Last year, we could have signed Dak Prescott to about a cool 50 something mil a year. Guess how much he's going to cost to re-sign him this year?
57.
60+ million.
60 million? That's insane.
And you want to know why it's costing that much? Because the longer you wait to pay a QB, the brick just keeps going up. They
Mm.
watch all of these dudes get their money, pay their guys, and the Cowboys didn't think, maybe we should pay our dude now so we don't have to pay even more in the future. They ain't think of that. They saw Tua get his contract. They saw Kirk get paid. Oh, who cares? They saw Tua get paid. Oh, who cares? They saw Jordan Love get paid. Oh, who cares? Like what? Like I'm supposed to believe this is a competent organization. Me? No, absolutely not. And then the whole Micah Parsons, he's technically not due for money just yet, but we all know Micah's gonna get about 30 a year because that's how good of a defensive player he is. And it's just absolutely ridiculous. I don't know what these dudes are doing, but I, I think CD will get a deal done. I feel like they'll pay two and not pay one, and I'm afraid the one is going to be the QB that they're not going to pay. Dak Prescott probably is going to hit the market after this year, but he doesn't care. He's getting 60 mil to play this year, so I mean, hey, it is what it is. But as far as the team, how I feel about the team as a whole, I don't think CD he might hold. If they don't get it, he might not play because he has no more guaranteed money left. And if some catastrophic happen injury wise, he's screwed. So honestly, if they don't get a deal done, he might not even play. Um, but as far as the team as a whole, I'm concerned.
Mm.
I'm concerned because some of the things that they've been saying. Honestly, I'm not that concerned about the defensive side of the ball. I think the defense will be more disciplined, but it's not going to be as flashy. We're not going to be getting a bunch of turnovers and stuff like we were under DQ because Zimmer just doesn't run that style of defense. I do think they'll be more disciplined. They won't get taken advantage of in a run game as much, and we're definitely going to be more big. We're definitely going to be bigger out there because Zimmer doesn't want no small fries playing linebacker. We're not going to have Marquise Bell, who was 215, playing linebacker like we were last year. And so yeah, but the offensive end, Zeke might be the number one running back in
Uh,
2024.
Let me look at the depth chart. He is projected to be the starter. Wow.
And then the O line, I mean, we still got Zach and Tyler Smith. Is Terrence Steele supposed to get as he's getting healthier? He'll probably have a bounce back year. But as far as center and left tackle, Guyton isn't even starting in training camp.
Well,
They
they
got
said he's
Chuma
projected.
Edoga starting
Wow.
at training camp right now. I
Wow.
don't know if it's O-line politics stuff. They usually do stuff like this, but I think it's weird because there's rookies getting first team reps on defense, but there's not rookies getting first team reps on offense. Whatever. But another offensive nugget, Brandon Cooks, number one receiver in Big 24. Nah, that ain't gonna work. And then our wide receiver 3, Jalen Tolbert. I expect him to be about around wide receiver 3 level, maybe wide receiver 2. He's been making some flashes at camp, which is great to see. But it's a lot of unproven guys out there. We outside of Brandon Cook, there's a lot of unproven guys at receiver. Obviously, you still got Jake Ferguson, who's like that. I might draft him in fantasy. It looks to be seen, but I'm kind of concerned. But all in all, I think this team, if something catastrophic doesn't happen, I still think this team can win 10 games. If they get a CD deal done, I think we can win 10 games. It's just because the team is still talented. It's still Dak, it's still CD, it's still Micah, it's still Trey Diggs, D Law, all of those guys. So I believe this team is still a 10-win team.
Yeah, especially with the division.
Yeah,
That division is
exactly.
garbage. Being in a garbage division, you have the leeway to not have to worry about necessarily dealing with the fact that you're going up against top competition. I mean, the only competition you really have is the Eagles. The Commanders, we don't really know what to expect from them, and the Giants are an afterthought at the end of the day. So this team, I don't know. I'm not gonna pick them to win the division because every year the division winner is different. It's been like that since I believe 2004.
03.
So 03, God. So you already know when a team wins
Actually,
a
no, my bad.
division.
I think it might have been 04. Whatever year that was, I think the Eagles went to the Super Bowl. I think that's when it started.
Yeah. So ever since then, it's been a different division winner. So we already know. As much as I know, much as I hate to say it, but it's definitely gonna be a new division winner. It's not gonna be the Cowboys this year.
Yeah,
So
that's what it's
my
looking
guess,
like.
yeah. So we'll get to those predictions, but overall, this team they're not gonna be bad. The Cowboys are never bad unless it's like a significant injury. I'm not gonna predict a major injury is gonna have to happen to Dak Prescott. I mean that's unprecedented. So I think this team could win 9 to 10 games. Um, I just think they're too talented, like you said. They still have some dudes on their defense: Demarcus Lawrence, Oza Digizua, Micah Parsons. They brought in Eric Kendricks. He's fallen off a bit. I don't know if he's washed, but anywho, Deron
He's better
Bland.
than what we had last year.
Deron Bland, Malik Hooker. He's pretty solid. Donovan Wilson, Trayvon Diggs. We don't know when he's gonna come back. He might come back later in the season. So yeah, man, I think this team's just too
Oh,
good.
he'll be
And
ready week 1.
oh, he'll be ready week 1. Okay,
Yeah, he'll
so
be
yeah,
ready week 1.
he'll be back. He'll be back. So you guys still have a talented team. Mike McCarthy, he's playing for his job. If you guys don't play well this year, he's gone. So I expect to be some sense of urgency from him. So yeah, about 9 to 10 wins is I think that's what we should project for the Cowboys, and that's how I look at it. So yeah, about the same for the Cowboys every year, about 9 to 10 wins. Should expect
Yeah.
that. All right, let's go to the Eagles, the final NFC East team. The Eagles have they always been making moves every single year. Howie Roseman, he's always on the phone, getting stuff going. Let's see, Eagles depth chart. The thing with the Eagles that is a major question mark is one. Actually, they have a lot of questions. What the hell am I talking about? There's a lot of questions with the Eagles.
Uh,
One is the
mm,
offensive scheme. You bring in Kellen Moore. What is that going to look like? And defensively, you get rid of that one defensive coach. He's with Washington now. as the what is it? The oh, I'm tripping. I'm thinking of the offensive coordinator. Yeah, so you change defensive. So you change defensive coordinators and offensive coordinator. Whew, it's a big deal. Let's see, Eagles. They they drafted a lot of talent.
hmm
Eagles draft picks.
Can't believe they got Quinyon Mitchell.
I know. That's the thing. Let's see. Here we go. All right. Eagles coaching staff. All right. So here we go. So just looking at the free agency, we already know they brought in Saquon. Uh, who else did they bring? Oh, they brought in Paris Campbell as well. Okay.
Yeah,
Oren Burks, CJ Gardner Johnson. I forgot they re-signed him. Um, who else did they bring in? Devontae Parker, he's kind of washed.
yeah,
He's a jump
he
ball
can't get
guy.
separation.
uh, CJ Uzama, Devin White. So yeah, it's not the worst free agency in the world. It's better than most. It's better than most.
Yeah,
They didn't resign Kevin Byard. That was just a huge whiff. And yeah, they brought back Brandon Graham, his old ass. He's still in the league for whatever
oh,
reason. So yeah, that was free agency pretty much. A lot of the well-known Quinyon Mitchell. I was mad about that. I want him to go to the Packers. I really want him to go to the Packers, but they had to select him. You can't pass that. He was arguably the number one corner coming out of the draft. Cooper DeJean, the next round out of Iowa. That was
he's
another
hurt.
dude that, yeah, he is hurt. Um, some other guys I don't really know much about. Jeremiah Trouter, Clemson, linebacker.
He got hurt too.
Trevor Keegan. Yeah, Johnny Wilson, wide receiver floor. Oh yeah, Johnny Wilson. All right, that was another. That's the Steve Smith. That's Steve Smith's favorite wide receiver, Johnny Wilson. All right, then we look at the coaching staff. They bring in Vic Fangio. I don't know. I don't know. Is Vic Fangio?
Uh,
Is his scheme outdated?
the too high meta is starting to get cooked nowadays.
Uh,
And coming from the Dolphins, the players did not like Vic Fangio, surprisingly.
I,
So
I
they
don't
was all
know.
happy when he left. So I
I
don't know
don't
if that's
know.
an indicator of anything, but
The disciples from that Vic Fangio scheme, they haven't been playing, they haven't been doing well. You got Brandon Staley, I forget the other coaches, but yeah, that whole group hasn't been looking too well these past 5 years when it comes to that scheme. So I don't know if bringing Vic Fangio in this point in time will do much for that team. Kellen Moore, we already know Kellen Moore. We talked about him. I
oh
heard
yeah.
some things. Yeah, I've heard some things from camp though that the offense is just cooking the defense. So
Hmm,
maybe that's
interesting.
I don't know if that's
I
good
don't
or
think the
not.
pads are on yet though. Are they on
You
pads? I
like
don't know.
no, they're definitely not on pass. They're
Okay.
definitely training camp just started. What we in 27?
I mean,
Training
some
camp
teams
started on the
got pads on
23rd.
already.
Damn, already. Okay, well, sheesh. Okay, so then we look at the depth chart. They projected obviously Jalen Hurts. He's going to start. You have Saquon, AJ Brown, Devontae Smith. They have Paris Campbell at the slot, Dallas Goddard, and then offensive line. They're still pretty solid. The center Cam Jurgens. Never heard of him. He's
Never heard of Cam
replacing.
Jurgens?
Nah, never heard of him.
I guess because you
So
don't
he.
follow the division, so
See, I'm not. I'm see. A lot of these guys are like, what was it? What was he? A second string dude? Like a lot of these dudes, I'm
mm.
not. I'm not really. I'm not really. Yeah, you're
Really
right.
got Cam Jerk. He got some big shoes to fill.
Oh yes, you know, Jason Kelsey, you're placing a Hall of
hmm
Famer. So we look at the defense. They're 3-4 defense. Milton Williams, never heard of dude, starting at left
Who?
DN. Milton Williams,
Never. Yeah, I've never heard
never
of him.
heard of him. Obviously Jordan Davis, nose tackle. Jalen Carter, he's going to start on the right side of the defensive end. You have Bryce
Jalen
Huff.
Carter?
Yeah, Jalen Carter. He's not going to be a defensive tackle. He's going to be a DN for them.
What?
That's the projection that they have for them.
Hmm.
They think Jordan Davis, he's going to be the nose tackle, and they said Jalen Carter's going to start at the right side of the defensive end. You have Bryce Huff, you have Nakobe Dean, Devin White, Nolan Smith
Mm.
Jr., Quinyon Mitchell, C.J. Gardner Johnson, Reed Blankenship, Darius Slay Jr., and Avante Maddox. So that is the defense. A lot of youth. A lot of youth. It can go either way. It can go up or it can go down. This is really all about potential, and we don't really know if they're going to develop or not.
Yeah, that defense, I'm not too moved. I'm gonna be honest with you. Outside of a few guys like Jalen Carter, Darius Slay, he might, he's getting up there in age, so who knows when he may, Father Time starts coming to collect when he's old. Quinyon Mitchell, he's still young. It's like it's his very young roster, especially on the defensive end. Nakobe Dean, I was super high on him when he got drafted a couple years ago, but now I'm like, I don't think I've seen him make a play. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, I don't think I've seen him make a single play. Devin White, y'all know my feelings on Devin White. I don't think he's good. He's not good. Um, all Devin White does is run fast. That's pretty much it. He was a Levante David Merchant, and I don't think he could be the number one guy in the linebacker core. You're setting yourself up for failure. He can't cover. Sometimes he hits he goes through tries to hit the wrong gap in the run game. I don't think he's just. I think he's just athleticism, in my opinion. But the offense, I think the offense. What happened?
Oh, it's probably the signal or something. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The offense though, it really depends on Kellen Moore. Can they execute the Kellen Moore scheme? And the Kellen Moore scheme is curls. I don't know if he changed it. He may go a different direction. He may change it up a little bit. But from what I've seen from him on the Cowboys and the Chargers, they still was running them curls. So we're gonna have to see. He has plenty of talent at his disposal on the offensive end. He has Saquon, Smitty, AJ Brown. Still got Dallas Goddard. O line isn't as good as it probably as it was last year without the Jason Kelsey thing, but it really depends. But I still have the Eagles winning the division personally because the Cowboys is getting on my nerves and the whole NFC East curse thingy.
Okay. Give me 1 second.
Yeah.
I'll let you come back. So like just come back because your video, whatever it is, it paused or something like that. So yeah, I'll
Yeah.
yeah, leave the stream real quick and then come back.
Guys, I'm trying to. My Chrome is being very slow. I don't know
Or
what's
maybe
going on.
maybe you could turn off your camera and then try to turn it back on.
I'll be honest, I can't click anything right now.
What? Okay, I don't know. Let me.
My best bet would be to hold on. Let me see.
Maybe I don't
Let me
know.
close the tab. Hold on.
Yeah, let me try that. Okay, all right. But yeah, basically, so yeah, the Eagles, there's a lot of question marks on the defensive side. A lot of youth, a lot of guys that we really don't know how good they're going to be. And you have the C.J. Gardner Johnson, you have the Darius Slays, but they're up there in age. We really don't know exactly how good they still are. James Bradbury, he moved to safety. He's a free safety now. He's going to be the second string safety because as a corner, he was just cooked. He wasn't good last year. I heard Eli Ricks. he took some first team reps at corner, I think it is. On the depth chart, they have him as the fourth string cornerback. I don't see that lasting. But yeah, Brian is absolutely right when it comes to Devin White. He didn't play well. Uh, Warren Sapp, he talked about it on his podcast, how he brought up just the lack of effort from Devin White and him missing gaps and not doing his job. It just seems like he's lost out there when he doesn't have Levante David coaching him up. So this team is, I wouldn't say it's a mystery because that offense is still very talented. You have Jalen Hurts, you have AJ Brown, you have Devontae Smith, you have Saquon Barkley, and with all of the criticism of Kellen Moore's offense, he still produced a top 5 offense with the Cowboys. So when he has the requisite pieces at his disposal, he can still produce a high-powered offense. It's just, is it efficient enough when it matters most? And that's the question with the Eagles. I don't know if he'll change some things up. They also brought in Mekhi Becton, but we already know he's good as like a second string guy. But overall, I wouldn't. Okay, so your video is back.
Yeah, I
Oh,
think the browser just crashed. But yeah.
oh, okay, all right. So yeah, I was just talking about the pretty much pretty much going further on your discussion about the Eagles. I said that the offense at the end of the day, although yes, it's Kellen Moore, I still think this offense is going to be good. They're too talented not to be. The defense is more of a mystery. That's going to be more of a mystery than anything else because of their youth and the fact that Darius Slay is getting up there in age and CJ Gardner Johnson. I know he was solid for them, but can he be good on this team? I don't know. Um, but yeah, without further ado, let's give our rankings of the NFC East. Who do we
Okay.
have at 1, 2, 3, and 4? So I'm gonna go with the Eagles at 1. I just think with just looking at all the other teams and their problems, although the Eagles defense is a mystery and seems like a big question mark, I think compared to the other teams, I feel like the Eagles have the best situation, regardless of Jalen Hurts' relationship with the head coach. And I think he'll get along with Kellen Moore. So I'm gonna go with the Eagles at number 1. And number 2, this is where things get a bit dicey for me, but I'll go with the Cowboys. I'll keep it safe. I think CD will eventually come back. I don't believe CD is just going to sit out for the rest of the season. These wide receivers. We saw Brandon Ayuk. He was all, oh, I'm done with this team. Trade me. I'm demanding. I'm requesting a trade. But then he reported back to training camp. I don't think CD is going to sit out. I think he's going to play this out, and eventually either they're going to get a deal done or they're going to trade him at the end of the season. It's either or. So that's what I believe. So I'm gonna go with the Cowboys at number 2. Number 3, I'm gonna go with the Commanders. I think, yeah, it's pretty simple. I think they're just a tad better than the Giants situation. I think Jada Daniels, he's a rookie. This is a new coaching staff. Everybody's pretty much new. They brought in all these different pieces, albeit it's an older Bobby Wagner and it's an older Austin Eckler. They have a bright future, but I don't think they're going to be better than the Cowboys or the Eagles. Is it possible? Yeah, it's possible, but I'm not going to place my bet. Actually, I did kind of place a bet, but that was
Mm.
I did kind of place a bet, but in terms of the podcast, I'm not going to definitively say that they are going to have a better season than the Cowboys or the Eagles. And then number 4, I'm going with the Giants. I just think they're a lost cause. Daniel Jones is not good. The defense, besides the D line, is a question mark. The offensive line is still a work in progress. I can only really look forward to Malik Neighbors. And that's about it from that offense.
Mm.
So, and oh yeah, and Darren Waller retired. So that's another thing. And yeah, that's my rankings. What about you?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the same thing. I'm gonna go with the Eagles at one, strictly because if they figure out if they play really good football, they have a pretty high ceiling, honestly. If the team just meshes well, they get some leaps from the younger guys that they had on the team the past 2 years, like N'Kobe Dean, Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter. He played phenomenal, like for the first half of the season. If he can pull it all together then he hit the rookie wall. But if he can put it together the second year and be more consistent throughout the entire year, they'll be much better on the D line and the run game aspect. Darius Slay, he's getting up there in age, but they got Quinyon Mitchell. So, they get drafted his successor. So, and on the offensive end, yes, they still have more talent than probably everyone in the league on the offensive end. They just have weapons on weapons, and if Kellen Moore can make it work, they'll be a dangerous team up until the playoffs. So yeah, I'm gonna go with the Eagles at one. I think they'll win. I think their ceiling is like 12 wins, but I got them like the same like 10 range, 10 11 range with the Cowboys. But speaking of Cowboys, I'm gonna go with the Cowboys at two. You got Dak Prescott. As much as people want to say, oh, Dak Prescott, blah blah blah, he was runner-up MVP. He had a career year last year, and I do expect CD to eventually show up and play, whether he has a deal or not. So as long as we got them two on offense, I trust us to win some games. And the defense, I think will be better. Mike Zimmer, in my opinion, is a better defensive coach than Dan Quinn. So I'm gonna stick with the Cowboys at number two. Won't win the division because NFC East cursed and all of that other stuff. But three, I'm going with the Commanders, strictly because the Giants just they haven't like I don't understand. I really don't understand what the Giants got going on. I mean, I'm kind of glad that they stinking up the joint when it comes to team roster building and management and all that stuff. But the Commanders, they just have done more. They've done more. They seem like they want to win more. They went out and hired guys and they bought free agents in. Whether they're not like obviously they're not like superstar players or anything, but these are the type of guys that build deep rosters, and you need guys to be able to say next man up. Especially on defense, you want to rotate D linemen out, which Dan Quinn likes to do. So that's what you need in the league, and the Giants just don't have that depth. And Jaden Daniels, I expect him to be a better QB than Daniel Jones day one. So I'm gonna go with the Commanders at coming third of the division, probably around 7, 8 wins or so. So long as they do better than they did last year, you can count it as a success. Or a small step towards success. And obviously, last I'm going Giants. It's the Giants. They have Daniel Jones at QB, respectfully. O line. They definitely went on and got to know they got John Runyon. I don't know if he's cooked food or not, or how good he is. You would have to tell me that if you've been paying attention to him. Evan Neal is dealing with injury, but even still, he wasn't all that great, like at all. And so yeah, it's Malik Neighbors he's gonna do his thing. Hopefully, Giants fans hope he could get the ball because run game they're gonna have like next to no run game. It's
Yeah.
just a bad situation for him.
Yeah. By the way, John Runyon, he's actually pretty young. He's like only 26. I think he may have been injured a lot with us. I think that may have been why we probably released him, and his play wasn't to the caliber that we needed him to be, especially for the money that he probably demanded for us. So that's why we probably released him, because we develop offensive linemen all the time, and we're not going to try to pay offensive guard a lot of money, and he gets injured a lot. But he is young. Yeah. Actually, I take that back. He did play a lot for us. He just probably his production probably wasn't as good as we wanted him to be. So, yeah. Um, yeah, I agree. I agree with your rankings. Let's transition. I want to go to. Oh, by the way, that is going to do it for the NFC East. And next week we're going to get to another NFC East. Excuse me, we're going to get to another NFC team, NFC division. So make sure to tune into that. Without further ado, I want to transition. We have some contract extensions. We have Tua, and then we have Jordan Love. I want to go to Tua first. This was a mistake.
Mm.
Mistake by the Dolphins. Just let me look at the contract.
Isn't it 4 years, 212 million?
Yup. Yup. 53 million per year, I think it is. Just want to make sure I have all the. Yeah, 167 million guaranteed, 212.4 million contract extension, 53.1 million per year. And it says coming in a shade over Jared Goff's 53 million. And just behind Jordan Love, Joe Burrow, and Trevor Lawrence. This was a huge mistake by the Miami Dolphins. I understand. It's hard to find a good QB in the NFL, but they missed the ball on this one. It felt like they didn't have a plan at all besides Tua. And he took advantage of it, as he should. He should definitely take advantage. When you have leverage, you have to take as much advantage as you can. But when you look at the Miami Dolphins situation, dude, like this was the perfect year to draft a quarterback, and you just decide to not to. You have the roster where you can develop a quarterback, and you just decide, you know what, we're gonna run it back with Tua. We're gonna pay him all this money, and he can't win the big games. You pay a guy 53 million per year, and he can't win the big games. He has a noodle arm. He can't throw accurately in cold weather. I just don't see how this is a win for the Miami Dolphins. He's hurt half of the time. I just think it was a mistake. What about you?
Well, from one standpoint, from a logical standpoint, I don't think Tua is the guy, honestly, to take the Dolphins over the hump or take them even to an AFC Championship game. I'm gonna be honest with you. But the way the landscape is and the way the market is, if you have a fringe top 10, top or top 13 QB, you kind of have to pay him that kind of money because QBs are a hot commodity at this point, and finding a good
Mhm.
one is very hard to do. And a lot of teams they build these rosters to compete and win now, so they don't really have time to develop QBs. And the QB classes aren't looking too promising in the upcoming years. But I mean, I don't. I mean, you gotta. I don't know. I just don't. I don't like the. I don't salute the Tua for getting some generational money, but as far as the Dolphins fan, I wouldn't be too ecstatic about it. I'm gonna be honest. I'd be like, oh, okay, I see where we stand. We're just gonna be perennial playoff first round exit. Probably won't get past the divisional round. That's what my thought process would be if I was a Dolphins fan.
And you bring up the point about, the next couple of years the QBs aren't that talented. Well, that's where a lot of GMs made the mistake in 2017, because you have to remember in 2017 people were down on the QB draft, Mahomes, Deshaun Watson, Mitchell Trubisky, and then we later found out that Redacted and Patrick Mahomes, Patrick Mahomes were actually freaking good. It just, I just feel like this was just wrong for them to do, and they probably really like Tua. They probably really like his personality. He seems like a really cool dude, really good guy. But
Oh yeah.
man, just if you look at the tape, if you look at the big games, like we get it. Like he's great in structure. In structure, he's one of the best. He's deadly accurate. But most of the times in the playoffs, you're gonna need to make a play. You're gonna have to improvise. I made a quarterback on NCAA 25. I made him an improviser. You know why? Because I already know I can't just stand in the pocket all the time. I gotta use my legs sometimes. I gotta throw the ball while moving at times. I gotta evade pass rushers. And with Tua, he can't do that. Not since college. Because you put on weight. Well, now he lost weight. But with all the injuries, he don't have the quickness, he don't have the speed, he don't have the ability to just make guys miss anymore. And for them to put all the resources to really just believe that Tua is their franchise guy for the next 4 years is baffling to me. Like, he's making more than Jared Goff. I don't think he's better than Jared Goff. I think Jared Goff is much better than Tua, and for him to be making more than Jared Goff is ridiculous.
I
It
think there
just
needs to
is.
be a discussion that maybe, just maybe, QB contract shouldn't count towards the cap, because at this point that it's just going to keep getting worse. The QB contracts continue to rise year after year because the revenue continues to go up and the salary cap continues to go up because the league is generating so much revenue. And they might just have to, maybe not, maybe like 50%, because
Hmm.
100%, because QBs are making a lot of freaking money, and that is a lot of strain on the cap. And I
My
think it needs to be
yeah.
some type of protections for these teams, because if you're a small market team, you already have trouble attracting um, free agents and stuff like that. Then if you somehow draft a QB that's actually worth a ham sandwich, now you got to pay him $200 million. How else am I going to sign players?
Hmm.
So I think there needs to be a discussion had on whether QB contracts should count towards the cap, or all of QB contracts should count towards the cap, because it's getting out of hand.
Yeah. You're not afraid of the whole thing about it affecting the parity of the game? Does that worry you at all? You think that's not going to affect the parity of football, of the NFL?
See, the NFL is a lot different than sports like basketball, because even still, you can have the most souped up team in the world. Pat Mahomes will still come in and beat you.
Hmm.
I don't know how he does it, but look, the 49ers roster is freaking stacked. Pat Mahomes still came in and beat him. So it's a whole different ball game. We've seen stacked teams in the NFL not win it all and underperform. So it's not really the same. The dynamic ain't really, because it's two separate sides of the ball. It's 22 players on a roster. It's just there's 22, 11 offense, 11 on defense. I think it's a completely different dynamic. I don't think you'll really be able to stack the deck as much as people think you would with this with that rule being put
Hmm.
in.
Okay. All right. So let's go to the other quarterback that signed a new deal, and that was Jordan Love. He is now the highest paid player in NFL history. He's making 55 million per year. He's making 220 million on a 4-year contract off one great year. Um, I think with Jordan Love, here's my thing with Jordan Love. I think he has the potential to be one of the superstar QBs in the NFL. Just his ability, his talent level. He sat behind Aaron Rodgers for 3 years. I look at him. The 1 year that he's quarterback, he's done more than all the years that Tua has quarterback. So that's how good he was in 2023 NFL season. I just think the first 6, 7 games, he was very inconsistent. I was a bit worried, but
A
then
bit.
I was very worried. I was very
Okay. Okay.
concerned. I was very concerned. But then, you know, second half of the year came around and he turned it up and he played well. And this team, the offense, they really got a groove on. The Thanksgiving game is, I think that's his coming out party. That was when we were
Yeah.
like, okay, he's legit. he's one of those dudes, and that was that. And he won a playoff game against your Cowboys. I'm not going to throw salt in the wound, but we already know we don't really need to discuss any more of that. But he played well. He played well. And against the 49ers, he had a lead against them. Ultimately, he threw a very bad interception. He looked like me playing quarterback on Heisman difficulty at the end of the game. So, yeah, man, he almost beat the 49ers, but, at the end of the day, he's young, and hopefully we can get back to that stage again and beat them. But I'm not mad at this contract. I think his ability, if you watch his tape, if you understand the person, then you should feel comfortable at Jordan Love. He doesn't seem like a guy that's going to get injured a lot. He doesn't take unnecessary risk, and he can make all the throws. I remember the comparisons to Aaron Rodgers. Well, I hate to say it, he does have some Aaron Rodgers qualities, not the bad qualities, but a lot of the good qualities. You know what I'm saying? And he's a brother too, so that's a plus. So I like the contract. What about you?
Some would say this contract is a little premature. They really gave him this money off of a 9-game sample size. But in those 9 games, he was playing as a top 10 QB. And he's projected to get even better. So, and like you said, like I said before, these QB contracts only goes up. So he may be making the most in NFL history, but by the time next year rolls around, he might not even be top 3, depending on who's getting their money next year. So you gotta bite the bullet now to heal the wound later, because I mean, you don't want to wait time and wait till he's nearly an MVP candidate and pay him, and now you got to pay him $60 million a year. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, hey, I'll support teams being smart and paying their guys like immediately, as soon as possible, because these contracts, they only get bigger and bigger. And Jordan Love's he's a good player, in my opinion. He was duking it out with the 49ers on the road. Made it a close game. Like you said, they had the lead at one point, but it made close. Towards the end of the game, stuff happened. But and I think the Packers roster is getting better. So he'll have more time to gel with these guys. He'll have Christian Watson for a full year. Hopefully, he avoids the injury bug and everything. So I mean, the Packers, hey man, like I said, the NFC North. Good luck. It's going to be some good football for years to come in that division.
Yeah, we're going to talk about the NFC North in future weeks, so I can't wait to discuss that. But yeah, I mean,
Do you think they more? I'm sorry to cut you off. Do you think more teams are going to implement the Jordan Love method? We see the Falcons already. They trying their spin on the whole. Let's get a QB, even though we have one on the roster already, type thing. Do you think they were like, okay, let's get a guy, maybe 2-year out on a starting QB. We get out of contract in 2 years. Let's draft a guy that we like immediately. So then by the time, if this guy ends up being cooked food, or we just don't want him on the team anymore, we can be, well, hey, we got this guy just chill on the bench. He's been sitting for 2 years. He knows the playbook. He knows the scheme. He has good reps in practice. Let's put him out there and let's see how it does. And if he does well, we could pay him some money instead of having to go through the whole process of draft the QB, developing the QB, and yada yada yada.
I think first of all, it's going to have to be a smart team, and 2, they have to have a luxury to have a pretty solid QB at quarterback. So I would say the Rams could potentially do that. I think they're a potential team that can sort of enforce that model of, okay, we're going to draft the QB in the first round, and we'll let Stafford start the next 2 years, and then afterwards he'll probably retire, and then we can start the QB. I think that's the only team I could see really doing that in the immediate future. It's going to be very rare because a lot of these teams are desperate. They're trying to win now. They're trying to get people in the seats, and we see with the QB market, there's not a lot of really good quarterbacks. Like, it's a dime a dozen. And the Jordan Love model, we got very lucky. We got very fortunate. Brett Favre, you had Brett Favre, and then you had Aaron Rodgers sit for 3 years, and then we do the exact same thing with Jordan Love. We got very fortunate. The only other team I could see them doing that is the Rams because of Matthew Stafford and how
What about the
amazing
Jets?
he is. The Jets, no, that's not
Mm,
happening. Aaron Rodgers' ego, that's not happening. Aaron Rodgers, he's going to be out of here. I give Aaron Rodgers maybe
2 years.
2 years, this season and the next season, and then he's out. Man, shoot, he might be out after this season, depending on how they play. So I don't see it happening. I just think the Falcons and the Rams are probably the only two teams that are going to go to that way of thinking. Every other team, they're just desperate. They need to start the QB either now or later in the season because teams they're trying to win now. They're trying to keep their jobs, and that's how I look at it. I just don't see many teams doing it. It's very rare for a team to have the patience to want to go that route, and that's why a lot of teams fail because they don't have any patience.
Yeah, a
So
lot of
yeah,
these owners is telling these GMs and coaches like, hey, you better produce some results immediately.
yeah, and you look at you know this quarterback. I like this quarterback a lot, but he's going to get a lot of people fired. CJ Stroud, and his success, a lot of GMs are going to get fired because these owners are going to look at the Texas situation and say, "Hey, we can do that too.
No, they
Why
can't because
why
they're
isn't it
too
working?"
scared to trade back into the first top five and get a defensive stud to tag along with CJ Stroud. So,
Yeah, so
and they're too
he's
scared to get free agents, make trades for star receivers and all of that.
going to get people fired. Just not obviously not on his team, but on other teams, he's going to get people fired because they're going to look at that situation and say, "Hey, here's the blueprint. Why can't we do the same exact thing?" I don't know. I don't know the command. Obviously, the Commanders. I've heard comparisons between the Texans and the Commanders. Some people think that the Commanders will have a similar situation to the Texans from last year. I doubt it, but hey, you never know with that scheme and with Jaden Daniels. We believe he's going to be really good. You never know, but ultimately, yeah, these teams are just too scared and they're too impatient. And I think the Packers they understand how to develop QBs and they understand when to let go of their QB. And this deal seems bittersweet. It seems like the right thing to do, and I'm just glad he's able to get back in camp. I saw that he's been struggling in camp today. I think he threw 2 picks. Also, by the way, the Packers, the defense.
Hmm.
It's a new day. It's
Uh
a
oh.
new day. The defense, baby. We ain't the same defense.
Mm.
It's not sweet no more.
Well, we ain't got to play y'all, so
That our defensive coordinator, yeah, it ain't sweet no more. Our defense had them backup QBs in hell, and then they had Jordan Love in hell. Although he is rusty, he hasn't practiced at all. This is his first day practicing, but still,
mm.
our offense. We have one of the better offensive-minded coaches in Matt LaFleur, and the fact that this defense is cooking our offense is a good sign. That means this defense is it's looking like it's gonna be good. You know what I'm saying? Oh man, I can't wait till the season starts. I hope this is not a fluke.
I'm
I
excited
hope
to watch a whole bunch of teams besides mine.
yeah, you might as well get the player, might as well be a player fan now. Just whoever's your favorite player, just go to that team. Just root for that team. Because the Cowboys, it ain't looking too good. But man, my Packers, that defense, that's what I'm most excited for. The offense, it's the offense. The defense, that is what I'm looking because we had the worst defensive coordinator in the NFL in Joe Barry. And now he is finally gone. you don't understand what it's like. Well, you do understand what it's like,
Now I just
but but you don't understand what it's like to have the worst defensive coordinator literally holding you back. Like, Dan Quinn, he's not the best, but he ain't the worst.
you forgot about
Chan Gailey?
um
No, he was the
no
offensive
no no
coordinator.
2020 Mike Nolan.
Oh, Mike Nolan. Oh yeah, Mike
Yeah.
Nolan. But y'all had him for like 1 year. See, we had Joe Barry for like 3 years. Imagine having Mike Nolan for 3 years.
Mm, I wouldn't be a fan.
Exactly. So yeah, we had Joe Barry for 3 years, and he single handedly cost us games. But now that he's gone, Jeff Hadley from what was it from? I think he was it Rutgers or Boston? No, it was Boston College. Boston College. I'm ready. I can't wait to see what this defense looks like in the
Okay.
future. So yeah, man, that's all I really want to discuss today. NFL heavy this stream. We'll react to some more stuff next week. Olympics, I'm excited. The Olympics are here, finally here, and be watching some games. It's so many damn sports on right now. I don't even know what the hell to look at. I gotta look at the schedule because
Yeah.
oh my god, all these damn sports playing at the same time. And so much stuff I don't really care about. I already said it before. I want to watch swimming, gymnastics. I want to watch the track and field, obviously basketball, maybe boxing, and that's about that. I mean, I don't really care for much else. Maybe volleyball. I don't know, but all I know is that I'm prideful. USA, anything. I want them to win. So yeah.
Yep.
All right. Well, that'll
I might
do it
check
for
out some
this.
tennis too, because I've been getting into tennis over the past few years.
That's cool.
I
That's
need
cool.
Coco. I need Coco to
Coco
bring home the
Golf.
gold.
Yeah, Coco Golf. All right. Oh yeah, and then also what's the dude? He from around here. The guy I took a picture with
Oh,
him.
I know who you talk. Uh, uh, his name is.
I forgot
I
his
want to say
name.
it starts with a T.
I forgot his name. Regardless, I wouldn't mind seeing him as well. That'll do it for this edition of the Courtside View Podcast. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment down below, hit the notification bell, follow the socials as well, and we will see you all on the next episode of the Courtside View Podcast. Thank you guys for watching, and we are out of here.
Salute.
All right.